they were still positive, and the positives that I tend to focus on more. I thought our bowling unit bowled really well throughout the series without having much rest, especially to our fast bowlers. I thought they did a fantastic job as well, and had we backed them up in the field, it would have been a different result. So I think fielding remained the area that costed us, but I like to focus on the positive, and yes, we have addressed the negatives, things, instead of negative things that we like to be better at, and fielding remains our identity, how we go on about our business. So yeah, unfortunately we let ourselves down, but it's another opportunity to showcase our talent and be better, and we'll try and use that to the best of our ability.
So, since 5 December 2024, Zimbabwe have not handed out a debut to a T20 player. You've chosen 3 who have not been capped yet. Is that a sign of maybe some changes coming?
Say that again, Larry?
Since 5 December 2024, Zimbabwe, 19 months ago, Zimbabwe have not handed out a debut to a player, but you've named 3 guys who have not gotten a cap. Is it a sign of maybe shaking things up a little bit?
So Larry, I'll answer that in 2 parts. 19 months ago, we set on a journey and we identified some of those individuals that we all agreed on, the selectors, myself as a captain and the coach as well, that these guys, we will help and do our best to groom them as best we can so that they can take us to the World Cup. And we did that. Along the way, we took a lot of criticism for those guys as well, sometimes rightly, sometimes not so much. But at the World Cup, I think it was a real eye-opener. For me, it was that in the Super 8, where the world cricket has gone and where Zimbabwe has still stuck to. So we wanted to address that and be better so that we can match the rest of the world as well, so that when we go for the next World Cup, we are not left behind. So yes, the 3 changes that you're talking about, I guess you're going to have to wait and see tomorrow who makes their debut and if he will hand a debut cap or not. We have picked the squad, but we'll announce that tomorrow.
Yeah, Sikandar, if you don't mind, in my Hindi mein पूछ सकते
Urdu.
Urdu mein.
I don't mind Hindi and Urdu,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
being in the national jersey, I'd rather address that in English.
English?
Because I'm in a national jersey. I'll speak in Hindi and Urdu when I change my jersey.
Okay, no worries. So Sikandar, do you feel that this is the best time to register first series win against India? Because India in the last few matches, especially what Ireland did to India, it was shocking. Nobody expected. Then obviously the World Cup winning team going to England 4-0 blank, and this is a fairly inexperienced side in terms of bowling. So do you reckon this is the best chance ever for Zimbabwe to defeat India in a series?
Sir, I wouldn't say that this is the best chance. Any country that comes to Zimbabwe, we feel that we have an equal chance as them to beat them, especially in our home. And that is no exception to India. Whatever the result might be, we have won games against any country that has come to Zimbabwe. We are just struggling to close out the series. So without being disrespectful to India and without giving them too much credit either, I think we have as much of a chance to win the series as India. So that is an honest truth that I feel.
One more question. We saw during the trophy photo session, you and Shreyas were chatting quite amicably. So what kind of rapport you have, or do you discuss things beyond cricket? Because obviously Shreyas is also a new captain. Was he asking for some suggestion or something like that? How was the conversation? Whatever you could say.
So, firstly, sir, I like to leave the conversation with Shreyas private. It happened on the park, it's between 2 captains. But what I will tell you is that we weren't talking as cricketers. We leave our cricket as Zimbabweans, we leave our cricket on the park, we do the analysis of the game, and after that we are just mere human beings. So this is Shreyas' first time in Zimbabwe. So, and once you move around and once you spend this week here, you'll find out that Zimbabwe by nature are very hospitable people. So I was just telling Shreyas about Zimbabwe, about the people, about the weather, and the fact that it's his first time, so I was just welcoming Shreyas to Zimbabwe. That's about it.
Raza, obviously, last time you guys met India was at the World Cup, a different context. How important is it for you to face them in your own backyard, and maybe just share a bit of detail around the choice to go with the retro jersey?
So retro jersey isn't my choice. That is not my domain. I like to control things that falls under my domain. I quite like the jersey. Hopefully we'll have a gold jersey with a retro design as well to see which one's better. But anyways, that's not my domain and I don't like to interfere in other people's domain. But having said that, yes, the last time we met India, they won the World Cup, so They showed how a World Cup champion team needs to play in T20 cricket and where the modern game is going. We are trying to match those standards. Along the way, we'll make a few mistakes. One thing I will say is that the last series we played was our first series after the World Cup. We haven't played any cricket in 5 months. So, it takes a bit of time to get going again. And also, especially when the fact that we feel like from 170 that we are so used to scoring, we need to get into a habit of 180, 190. And sometimes when you're looking for that score, 150, 140 can happen. This transition that we're going through, this shift of mindset and upskilling ourselves might take some time. And it will require some patience from the captain, from the selectors, and from the board, and from the fans and journalists as well. But if you want Zimbabwe to be truly competing against the world cricket, then I can assure you, if we do not upskill ourselves, if we do not try and get into the habits of 180, 190, 200, then we'll be left behind.
What do you feel we need to do to get to those 180s, 190s, 200s?
So we need to upskill ourselves. We play within ourselves a little bit and calculate the game, but sometimes when the big over presents itself, we have to cash in and try and find 2 or 3 big overs out of 20 overs instead of 1. So there's not too much to do, to be honest. If we find 1 over of 15 out of 20 overs, we just need to find 3 out of 20 now. And that extra 30 runs that you find will take your past scores from 160 to 190, 170 to 200. And if Zimbabwe truly wants to compete with other nations at the world stage for the next World Cup, I can guarantee you the scores are going to be high. And if we don't upskill ourselves, and if we're not confident enough in doing that, and not willing to make those mistakes while learning new skills, then we're going to find it really tough in the next series and even at the World Cup.
Talking about upskills, Sunil from India. Quick question. You've got a nucleus of a very young team. So is Shreyas Iyer has got new people in. Any plans, anything that you have for against Sunil Rajat? Because he seems to be hitting every 4th delivery out of the boundary roads. So is there an upskill? Is there a plan? Is there a big, large thing around the new Indian players? They're going to be making their debut as well. They are unseen commodity in the cricketing world. So what are your thoughts on your team as well as the opposition?
So sir, when you have a population of 1.5 billion, and where most of the people do play cricket, so when you have these prodigies that comes around, that you find and that makes it to the Indian team, you already have a lot of skills, because a lot of people are playing cricket in India. So for you to be in the top 50 or 30 or 50 cricketers in the country, that means you're good enough, because your pool of players is very big. What remains to be seen is how well he does at international level. Yes, he has done it at the IPL level, which, of course, when it comes to franchise cricket, remains the epitome of it. But sir, international cricket is slightly a different beast. The badge on your chest, the crest on your hat, it adds a lot of pressure and holds a lot of weight. So how he handles that is what he needs to figure out. Our bowling attack is doing well, we will plan, but to plan against Surya Vanshi alone would be, in my opinion, disrespect to the other quality of cricketers that you have, and also would be incomplete preparation from Zimbabwean side, because we're not playing against one Indian, we're playing against 11 Indians tomorrow. And if we are not careful against all those 11, they can take the game away from you. So I always say that I respect every opposition equally, but I trust my boys as a captain should. And I believe the plans we've set and the things we've spoken about. What happens after, happens after. But we have filtered down our plans for every individual. We'll try and do our best to execute this plan and hopefully make this series a very entertaining one.
Raza spoke about asking, looking at the conditions, conditions are different. So if you look at the conditions of the sports club and you guys pace-based attack, and they are bigger boundaries, as opposed to whatever you guys faced in the national boundaries, flat wickets. So don't you think, so there are a lot of tools, trees in this ground, in looking back to the game that you played against Australia, which we have a track where they already hit everything on the line. And you have been away. So don't you think it would be a bit risky for you guys to try and play the cricket that you want to play in the future, but looking at the conditions that they demand something that is different?
Thanks for sharing our game plan for tomorrow. So there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. I'm not going to tell you how we're going to skin the cat, but you can always excel by reducing dot balls as well. Zimbabwe is having 40 dot or 48 dot balls as an average in every T20 game. If we can reduce to 30, that's 18 ones we have capitalized on. Or maybe some of them are twos. So there's plenty of different ways to skin a cat. It's not just about hitting boundaries, fours and sixes. There's a lot of ways to get the job done. But thanks for sharing the plan.
So, on a different note, we didn't get to speak to you afterwards, but talk to us about the moment